So, I have just got done watching the 7th episode of the final season of my favourite show, The Walking Dead. Today's episode is called Promises Broken, and I gotta say that I like this episode a bit more than the previous one, in my opinion. It was a bit less disturbing, and yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, so yeah, and I'm going to be reviewing it. So yeah, join me, Lucamus Prime, as I review The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 7, titled Promises Broken. Alright, so now I'm going to be talking spoilers, guys, as I read about the plot of the episode. So the episode begins right after Maggie and her group have escaped the Reapers who infiltrated the house they were hiding in, and they're in the woods. And so what happens is Maggie and Negan have arguments, and yeah, because the show's doing like a trend of them being like a very unhappy duo, which is understandable because, you know, Maggie hates him for killing her husband Glenn, you know. And then we get this issue where, you know, Negan wants to return to Alexandria with the supplies they have, but Maggie wants to, you know, wait for her people and then get more food, which, you know, I would definitely agree with her on because they need food, you know. And Gabriel is siding with Maggie on this, so yeah, which was great, so Negan's outnumbered. So, Negan asks Maggie to make a deal where if he helps her, she considers them even. But Maggie says that they'll never be even because Negan killed Glenn, but she needs more people to accomplish the task at hand. So they agree to terms by shaking hands, and they seal the deal with a semi-hostile handshake, and then Negan gives her a very unnerving smile. Oh. Then they get interrupted by a walker, but they recognise this walker because it's the best friend of Elijah's sister who went missing. And then we see other walkers who are victims of a Reaper's attack as well. So the group then ties them up to trees, these walkers that are coming, and they form a plan to infiltrate the Meridian base. And Gabriel decides to scout ahead. Maggie tells him to be careful. And Negan decides that an undercover mission is in order, so he decides to use the Whisperer masks, and he's going to train Maggie on how to blend in using them. So he gives her a mask, and I don't remember which, you know, Whisperer, you know, a mask belonged to. It could have been, you know, Alpha's or Lydia's, maybe. I really do not know. I mean, it's definitely not Beta's because, you know, the walkers tore it off when they ate him alive in a certain doom, so yeah. So Maggie's training, and unfortunately her first try goes wrong because she trips on a stone, and it causes the mask to like sort of slide off a bit, yeah. But Negan promises to sort it out for her by, you know, making it, you know, her size for her. And he wants to convince Maggie that he's changed, so he tries to relate to her as a leader who lost his people and community. And then he confesses that, you know, back at the lineup he should have killed, you know, not just Glenn and Abraham, but the entire group to ensure his people's survival. And this leaves Maggie horrified by what he says, but he tells her that their relationship will only work if they are honest, and as far as he's concerned, he's just speaking his truth. So yeah, he's admitted that he now wishes he killed them all. Then we move on to the Commonwealth, where it's revealed that Ezekiel, Princess, and Eugene and Stephanie are fulfilling their punishment, which they were sentenced to before because they got arrested for using the comms without permission by having to clear walkers in the outskirts of the community. Now, I couldn't tell if this is just like a random, you know, housing estate or anything like that, but yeah, maybe it's like a training area, maybe, or like, you know, community work for prisoners, maybe. I really don't know. And I could tell that Ezekiel was struggling because he was coughing. It's probably due to his cancer, so yeah. I've got a weird feeling, guys, that, you know, Ezekiel's on his way out in this season, that he might die later, but yeah, I'm very worried for him. And then after this, now meanwhile, Eugene, he notices a couple of well-dressed folks being led through the area by Mercer, you know, the leader of the soldiers. And meanwhile, Yumiko is wearing a nice suit because she's a lawyer, and she meets up with some Commonwealth higher-ups about her new role as the legal advisor to the governor of a Commonwealth called Pamela Milton. Yeah, that's her name. And then after this, she has a meeting with her brother walking around, and I couldn't tell what building they were in, but it reminded a lot of like a train station sort of thing, guys. It reminded a lot of a train station, and she wants to uncover why her brother refuses to acknowledge his past as a doctor. But just then, guys, the soldiers come up and they take him away for some reason. So yeah, I don't know why they took him away. You know, it was, you know, quite confusing. So we might find out in the next episode, maybe. Yumiko then confronts Hornsby about her brother and also her friends who are, you know, being sentenced, and he makes it known that he's doing a quid pro quo of sorts, and if he helps her out, she owes him a favour in the future, because she's now working for the governor of the Commonwealth. And when Yumiko arrives for a meeting with Pamela, she meets someone who is being a receptionist and tells her to sit down there, so yeah. Now, meanwhile, however, Ezekiel returns from the doctors, and he appears to be in good shape, you know, really healthy and also very happy as well, yeah. And he gives lollipops to the group that are, you know, cleaning out the walkers. So, yeah, that, you know, makes things happy. But then, as Stephanie and Eugene are walking away, they notice a couple that are, you know, that are kissing on a date, but they're distracted by a small herd of walkers coming up to him. So Eugene rushes to them with Stephanie, and they take out the walkers. But the man who was there was being really mean and less than thankful, saying that, you know, they interrupted his date. But, you know, that made me not happy because, like, come on, dude. You know, they just saved your life. Why are you being so pompous and rude? And, like, being selfish, ungrateful, you know? Like, why are you doing that? Because they just saved you and your girlfriend's life. So, yeah, this, you know, made Eugene very annoyed, and he punched him. But meanwhile, however, a walker was coming up to his girlfriend and tried to, you know, attack her. But luckily, Stephanie put her down, put the walker down, and saved her. But one thing I noticed was that some blood went all over the girlfriend, and it went in her mouth, so I've got a feeling that she might be infected if, you know, you can get infected by, you know, consuming walker blood. So, yeah, you know, because it's infected. But then all of a sudden, Mercer and the soldiers and Hornsby come, and they see what's happened, and then Eugene's arrested for assaulting, who happens to be the son of Pamela Milton, called Sebastian, yeah. So Eugene gets locked up in a cell, and Hornsby tries to, you know, strike another deal, because the penalty is now even higher now because he assaulted the son of the governor of the community, asking him to say where his community is in return for being freed, but Eugene doesn't want to, saying it's beyond that. Now, when it comes to the Reaper storyline, we see that, you know, they're still hunting Maggie's group, and Pope is not happy about this, so, and Leah tries to stand up for her team, so he orders her and Daryl to continue their search, so Daryl is keeping up his secret as being, you know, not a part of Maggie's group, even though he actually is. He's trying to, you know, maintain that secret, but then they come across a man who appears to be really desperate, saying that, you know, he's not with anyone, he's just got a family who he's trying to help. So they promise, you know, not to kill him unless he shows them, so he's not lying. But Leah gets a call from Pope, tells him about, you know, the family they've found, and he orders her to kill them. So they come across his family, which is his son and his dying wife. So the woman asks, you know, to be put down. So the son is taken away by the husband, and upon seeing the woman in pain and dying, this brings Leah to tears. So, and she tries to shoot him with a shotgun, but she can't bring herself to do it. So Daryl instead pulls the trigger with his crossbow and puts her out of her misery. This moment seems to inspire honesty in Daryl, and he turns to Leah wanting to tell her something. So I don't know if he wanted to tell her, but he's part of Maggie's group or not. But then all of a sudden, Pope interrupts him via walkie-talkie, ordering him to get back to base. Now, meanwhile, Maggie and Elijah are in disguise as walkers, you know, after some more training from Negan to be whisperers in disguise. And they're able to gather a large horde, you know, from all over. And they also free some from, you know, a barricaded building as well. So they create a really big horde, and they're able to make their way to Meridian, to claim what's theirs from Pope and the Reapers. But then something sad happened for Elijah, guys, because he found his sister among the herd of walkers. So sadly, she has indeed turned into a walker, guys. And he's really heartbroken, but of course, he can't show, you know, emotion because that will give him away as not being a walker. So, yeah, it was very sad. So, yeah, poor Elijah. So, and then this, you know, and as they, you know, keep going, you know, that's when the episode ends. So, yeah, it all fades to black before, you know, they make it, yes. So, I've got a feeling that, you know, the next episode might be like a battle between them in Meridian, maybe. And this marks the first step to the highly anticipated, you know, interaction between Maggie and Pope. So, yeah, that sounds really exciting, doesn't it? You know, their confrontation. With Daryl being part of, you know, of the Reapers, you know, under, you know, this facade of pretending to be one of them, you know, they have an advantage, you know, Maggie's group, you know, because they've got an ally in there. And, well, that is if Lee doesn't get in his head. So, yeah, hopefully Daryl won't turn. I really hope he won't turn to the Reaper's side, you know. Especially because in the previous episode, he was able to buy Maggie's group time to leave, you know. Like, if he really was a full-fledged Reaper, I doubt he'd have, you know, let them escape in the first place in the previous episode. So, yeah, I think he might turn against the Reapers in the next episode, but we'll have to wait and see until next week. So, guys, this is me reviewing The Walking Dead's episode titled Promises Broken at past part of season 11. So, you know, drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys thought of today's episode of Walking Dead if you've seen it. Love to hear your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for more videos coming in the future, and I'll see you all later.